first of 12 Conservative faithfuls opportunities to put questions to their next leader and their next Prime Minister. I think I've said already, it's the fourth time in 6 years the Tories have to do this. Now, whether they like it or whether they don't, politicians now are in the image business, and I think they're probably all aware of that. So on that aspect, who fared better? Who presented themselves? Who possibly had the more confident stride, or even presented themselves better in the terms of body language? Dr. Harry Witchel is senior lecturer at the Brighton and Sussex Medical School and is an expert in body language. It's never easy, Doctor. They were, quotes, in the round. Now, I know that's better for the audience because it provides a degree of intimacy. It's not easy to work, though, is it, Doctor? Morning.
Good morning, Nick. No, I agree with you entirely. I think that it is very difficult to have an audience around you 360 degrees. Overall, I thought it was a probing set of interviews in which their responses reflected the development of the candidates. So things are changing. They have different ways of coming across as intelligent. Liz Truss uses her slow voice and slow, deliberate movements to appear wise, while Rishi Sunak has a much more variety and rapid responses in order to come across as both clever and knowledgeable. In the Leeds Hustings, I felt that Liz Truss started to sometimes relax more and to use a greater variety of gestures. She's been limiting herself to two-handed symmetrical gestures, which are normal gestures, but Truss has been deliberately avoiding any other type of gesture. Now, especially when she has momentum, she's becoming more natural and using more one-handed gestures. Sunak has a natural style, but last night he was less aggressive than in his previous televised debates.
What should candidates do with their hands when they're either taking questions or making points, Harry?
I think that they should behave naturally. There's a lot of natural variety in body language. There are lots of things you want to avoid. So you don't want to put people off by pointing or looking aggressive. But mostly there's a lot of variety that candidates can do, and it depends on what kind of overall feel you want to give. So if you just hold your hands by your side, you could look kind of businesslike. But on the other hand, you could be like Rishi Sunak, using a wide variety of gestures. I think that sometimes your gestures can give away something. The one noticeable issue I saw about Rishi Sunak's body language is that he's plainly uncomfortable about offering to cut VAT on energy bills. Even during his opening remarks, when he mentioned this policy, he suddenly started to knit his fingers together, which is a defensive gesture. This could mean that he's uncomfortable about the policy, or that he's worried about being questioned on it as a U-turn.
How interesting. I'm making a note of that, Harry, for the next time I get in politicians. Lastly, it is widely held, you're the man to say whether it's true or not, if you're speaking to a politician, if you're speaking to anybody, if you're speaking to your wife, your partner, your husband, and they fold their arms and cross their legs, is that effectively putting up a barrier, or is that just a widely held but not true belief?
Broadly speaking, I'd say that that's widely held but not completely true. But I think that it's a good indicator that whatever you've said has changed the tone of the conversation. Usually people make these movements. It's not so much what position a person holds, but what movement they're doing and when they're doing it. And I would say that if they've been wide open and you say something and suddenly they change to a more closed posture, you should be thinking about what it is that you've just said. And maybe in the back of their minds, they've decided to close up for some reason. So I'd say sort of half and half, but broadly speaking, I'd say that what you were mentioning is kind of a wives' tale.
Harry, thanks. Dr. Harry Witchel is senior lecturer at the Brighton and Sussex Medical School and a body language expert. Coming up after the news, you will hear from Defence Secretary Ben Wallace. Now, just a couple of hours after LBC took down the cameras and everyone cleared